Going live, going live, going live, going live, going live, going live. Yeah. Hold on. That's better. So what's going on, YouTube? It's Unger to the Max here. I don't know why I took 2 weeks off from my last video, which I think was recapping Browns-Rams. I don't know why I haven't made a video since then, but it's whatever. And this is the way I want to start off this video. It's great to be a Florida Gator. Said it's great to be a Florida Gator. Come on, do the Gator chomp with me. Gator chomp, Gator chomp, Gator chomp. That's right. First off, hashtag go Gators. And College Game Day is going to Baton Rouge this weekend. Tiger Stadium, under the lights. Number 7 Florida Gators at number 5 LSU Tigers in Death Valley. Although I would argue that Death Valley is over at Memorial Stadium in Clemson, South Carolina. You know, the team called the Clemson Tigers. Yeah, that's Death Valley, not LSU. The real Death Valley is Memorial Stadium in Clemson. But first off, why are so many? I'm pretty sure there are 3 stadiums named Memorial Stadium. Clemson, Nebraska, and I'm pretty sure Illinois' stadium is called Memorial Stadium. It just doesn't make sense that 3 stadiums would share the same name. And on that note, why do so many college teams specifically share the same name? Like you have the LSU Tigers, the Auburn Tigers, and the Clemson Tigers. Oh yeah, and the Memphis Tigers. That's 4 teams right there. And it's confusing when Clemson plays LSU, which I think they have played on rare occasions. When Auburn plays Clemson, and that's happened recently. But of course, when LSU plays Auburn, because they're both in the SEC, and I think they might both be in the SEC West. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's just like here's another one: Kentucky Wildcats, Northwestern Wildcats, and I'm sure there's another Wildcat. Oh, Villanova, my favorite college basketball team, Villanova. There you go. There's 3 right there. Kentucky Wildcats, Villanova Wildcats, Northwestern Wildcats. I don't know. It's not that I don't like it. It just, I don't know, just doesn't make sense that there's 3 teams that share the name Wildcats. There's 4 teams that share the name Tigers. And there's 3 teams that share the same stadium name. Again, I have no problem with it. I just don't understand it. You get the difference? It just, I don't know. Something about it just is weird to me. So, yeah. And on the note of stadiums, but going to NFL. Yes, I'm a huge NFL fan. And currently, I'm on a quest to see a game at all 30 NBA teams' arenas, which I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Since my dad has been going on all these trips with me and all that, and, he's been doing all the driving because I haven't gotten my driver's license yet. Once we complete all 30 NBA teams in their arenas, I want to throw him a big surprise party. So, you can't tell him. Do not tell him. Again, it's a big surprise. Go Dogs. Who wins this weekend in Baton Rouge? I'll get to that. No, why did I just say go Dogs? Ugh, I ought to wash my mouth out with soap. Ugh, thanks, George. Really appreciate it. Because, Gator Chomp, which Here's my only question. I love the Florida-Georgia rivalry. I do. I love it. It's a great game. Although I live streamed during that game last year because it was a big game and Georgia absolutely destroyed the Gators. So hopefully that's not the case this season. But my only question is, why is the rivalry played at a neutral site in Jacksonville, which doesn't feel like a neutral site because Jacksonville's in Florida? I don't know. Again, I don't have a problem with it. I just don't understand it. Just like with Oklahoma, Texas. Why is that rivalry played on a neutral field? Why isn't that game played at Oklahoma one season and at Texas the next season? Like, why isn't the Florida-Georgia rivalry played at Georgia one season and then the next season it's at the Swamp? And then the next season, it's between the hedges. I don't know. It just, again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing that they play either rivalry at a neutral site. I'm just saying it just doesn't make sense. Like, with this, it being a big rivalry, like Ohio State, Michigan is a big rivalry. You don't see them playing like that game on a neutral site. Alabama, Auburn, which I would argue that's a bigger, or not a bigger rivalry, but a more important rivalry right now. The Iron Bowl. I would argue, like, why isn't Alabama, Auburn? Alabama, Auburn isn't played on a neutral site. So why is Florida, Georgia played on a neutral site? And why is Texas, Oklahoma played on a neutral site? It'll be much closer to this year. It is played at a neutral site because of the tradition. It also brings a ton of money to the universities and a ton of money to the city of Jacksonville. In my experience, it has been neutral though. Yeah, it's much closer for Florida than Georgia, but the stadium is 50-50 for kickoff. Yeah, I know. Oh, so that makes sense, George, but I don't know. I just feel like the rivalry is missing that little oomph that it would get if it was played at the Swamp, and if it was played between the hedges. That's my personal feeling. Yeah, I would too. Yes, Oklahoma and Texas are played at the Texas State Fair in Dallas. Which, how is that a neutral site? Like, you do Oklahoma, Texas in Texas and call it a neutral site? Doesn't seem that neutral, does it? But yeah. So switching gears a little bit. Yes, I'm a major NFL fan, but I don't have a desire to see a game at every NFL team stadium like I'm trying to do for the NBA, which again, I keep this a secret. I want to, once we complete all 30 NBA teams arenas, I want to throw my dad a big surprise party to say thank you because, he's done all the driving because I chosen not to get my license because I don't really need to get my license right now. Maybe later I will, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, and he takes the time off work to go to these cities with me, like Milwaukee and Charlotte eventually, and eventually Denver, and we'll have to go up to Portland at some point, So he's just taking time off of work to do these trips with me, and I just want to come up with a way to say thank you, and I can't think of a better way than the surprise party. But you can't say anything about it. Nothing. And hopefully he doesn't watch this video. But even if he does, he probably will forget in 2 or 3 years. But still, Just I don't think you will, but don't say anything. Got it? Cool. So, like I said, I am a major NFL fan, but I don't have a desire to see a game at every NFL team stadium. But there are certain stadiums that I'm like, yes, I want to see a game there. Do you get what I mean? Okay, so I'll give you the games or the teams and stadiums that I want to see. Number one would be CenturyLink Field in Seattle, to see the Seahawks. And speaking of the Seahawks, the Browns play the Seahawks this week, and so on Friday, I will be doing a video with the guy who first got me into YouTube and helped inspire me to become a YouTuber. He is a major Seattle Seahawks fan. And he's I don't remember how long he's been a Seahawks YouTuber for, but he makes videos at every game. I'm doing a video with NorbCam. Yeah. I'm super excited. To think that I'm going to be making a game preview with the two YouTubers who inspired me to become a YouTuber in the same season is just unbelievable. Because week 2, I did it with, I did a game preview video with Gang Green David, the New York Jets YouTuber. And this week I'm doing a video with NorbCam, major Seahawks fan. And when I've done these videos on YouTube to preview Browns games with another YouTuber, the Browns have only lost once. And that was week 17 in Baltimore. And the Browns didn't lose by that much. And if the Browns did beat the Ravens that game, then Pittsburgh would have won the division. Yeah. So, number 1 would be Seattle. Number 2 would be Lambeau Field in Green Bay. Even though I don't really like the Packers, because I'm more of a Chicago Bears fan. But I would, even with that, I would still love to go to a Packers game. I mean, even if I don't sit like right next to the field and have the player do a Lambeau leap into the stands and get to pat him on the back and all that, that part doesn't matter to me because those seats probably cost thousands of dollars. Just even if I were to have nosebleeds for a game at Lambeau Field, it would still be worth it because it's Lambeau Field. Okay, I'm not ranking these in order. I'm just stating. Another one would be the Superdome. Man, I would love to go to a Saints game in New Orleans at the Superdome. That place, it gets so loud. It would be crazy, especially on a Sunday night football or Monday night football. And especially if it's like a division opponent or if it's like Dallas coming in, it would just, or maybe Seattle. It would just hype up the crowd so much more. And it would just be so much fun. Another one would be Kansas City. I would love to go to a Chiefs game at Arrowhead. I believe the Arrowhead Stadium holds the record for being the loudest stadium. They beat the record set by CenturyLink Field, which is funny. But Kansas City loves the Chiefs. I've heard that when you go to a Chiefs game, everybody's decked out in red and it feels like a college atmosphere. And I just think it would be a lot of fun. Another one would be Soldier Field in Chicago. I would love to go to a Bears game. Not in winter, though. I don't think that would be very fun. But Bears fans are very passionate about their team. I just think it would be a lot of fun. Let's see, another one. I would say Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. I've heard mixed things about Eagles fans. I've heard some fans of other fan bases say, no, don't go to an Eagles game if in the opponent's colors you'll get beer dumped on you, you'll get screamed at and all that. But obviously, if I were to, as long as they're not playing the Browns, yeah, I would probably root for the Eagles. That's going back to my NBA trip for a second. When I go to these games, when on my quest to see a game at every current NBA team's arena, I intentionally don't want to see a game where they're playing the Cleveland Cavaliers, because if the home team, let's say the Phoenix Suns, are playing the Cavaliers, then I'm going to root for the Cavaliers, and I don't get to really be part of the fan base and fully experience it. So I don't personally like to see the Cavaliers. I did it once, and that was in Detroit. So on my list, I marked that as a win/loss because the Cavaliers won, but it was in Detroit, actually Auburn Hills, and the Pistons lost. So that's why I have it marked as W/L. Get it? Got it? Good. So let's see. Seattle, Green Bay, Kansas City, Chicago, Philadelphia. What other teams would I want to go to? I already went to Miami. I already went to Pittsburgh. I don't really want to go to Baltimore. Don't really want to go to Cincinnati. Don't have a desire to go to New England. Definitely don't want to go to Washington until they change their name and logo. Don't really have a desire to go to Dallas. Oh, I forgot. I want to go to New Orleans. Actually, I want to go to a Panthers game at Bank of America Stadium. I don't know, because they're one of the newer expansion teams, and I just want to see what their fan base is like. But yeah, I don't have a huge desire to see a lot of NFL teams. Just a handful. But okay. I'm glad that Los Angeles has an NFL team, or I should say 2 NFL teams, but I hate that they both teams, LA has those 2 teams because those teams moved from another city. The Rams moved from St. Louis, and that bothers me. But the one that really bothers me is the Chargers leaving San Diego to go to LA. Because I grew up loving the Chargers because LaDainian Tomlinson is my favorite player of all time, and he played for the San Diego Chargers for the majority of his career. Although I think he played for the Jets and maybe the Raiders to finish his career. But anyway, yeah. So I grew up supporting the Chargers. Yeah. And then when I found out that the Chargers were leaving San Diego to go to LA, I was very angry. And I was not happy. Like I said, I was very angry about it. You grow up rooting for a team in a certain city, and then that team just says, okay, we're going to uproot and go to a different city. Yeah. But as long as the Browns don't leave Cleveland again, I'm fine. And I'll get to the Browns. But first, let's talk about the UFC, because I haven't talked about the UFC in a while. So, I have not watched a UFC pay-per-view since UFC 241, when Stipe Miocic defeated Daniel Cormier to regain the heavyweight belt. And since then, at UFC 242, Khabib Nurmagomedov submitted Dustin Poirier to retain the lightweight belt. And then interim champion Israel Adesanya just knocked out Robert Whittaker to claim the UFC middleweight belt in the main event of UFC 243 in Melbourne, Australia. Or is it Melbourne? I don't remember. And UFC 244 is the next pay-per-view, and it's at Madison Square Garden, but there are no title fights on the card. What the heck? How can you have this big pay-per-view in the world's most famous arena and not have one title fight? There are no title fights on the card. Instead, the main event is between Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz in a welterweight bout. Now, the only reason this fight came up is because in the post-fight interview of UFC 241, Nate Diaz was saying, "Oh, Jorge Masvidal thinks he's the biggest gangster in the West, but there's two of us, and he thinks he's the biggest." I'll say it. He thinks he's the biggest motherfucker, but let's see who the baddest motherfucker is. So he called out Masvidal, and Masvidal's like, "Hell yeah, I'll take that fight." So UFC said, "Okay." And that's your main event for UFC 244. Now, UFC 245. There is not one title fight, not two title fights, but three title fights. Count them. 1, 2, 3. And the main event is a main event that I have been waiting for since UFC 235, when Kamaru Usman defeated Tyron Woodley by unanimous decision to win the welterweight bout. Him and Colby Covington have been trash talking each other. Like, this is Usman talking, this is Covington talking. You know, they tried to book the fight and Covington didn't accept it. They tried to book it for the pay-per-view in MSG, and Covington and the fight fell through, something like that. And then Covington took a fight against Robbie Lawler and absolutely dismantled him. And Covington's been walking around with a UFC belt. And, you know, it's time to put up or shut up for these two. And that will be your main event for the welterweight belt between Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington. Yeah. And the second fight will be for the featherweight belt, when Max Holloway defends against Alexander Volkanovski. And I would argue that this will be Holloway's toughest title defense, because Volkanovski brings an element of strength that I don't think Holloway has really seen yet. And, you know, I want to see how Max adjusts to that. So, but the one thing I really haven't seen, and maybe it's because I didn't watch UFC 240 when he faced Frankie Edgar, but I haven't really seen what happens if Holloway is forced to wrestle. Like, what happens if he gets taken down? Like, can he still defend his belt? Like, or will he get submitted? Something like that. I want to know. And I don't know if Volkanovski will bring that, but I think Volkanovski will bring an element of strength that Max Holloway has not seen in Jose Aldo, Brian Ortega, or Frankie Edgar, or Dustin Poirier. Although when he fought Dustin Poirier, Holloway was not defending his belt. Holloway was facing Poirier for the interim lightweight belt because Khabib Nurmagomedov had gotten suspended due to, you know, what happened after the main event of UFC 229 with the whole melee and all that shit. And the third title fight will be a rematch between Amanda Nunes and Germaine de Randamie. I don't know when they first fought, but it will be the second time they fought each other. I don't know if Amanda Nunes is ever going to defend the featherweight belt, because Chris Cyborg, who was the only legitimate featherweight contender, got released by the UFC, and I'm pretty sure she's back with Bellator. Many UFC fighters have gone to Bellator recently, like Gegard Mousasi, after UFC 210, when he controversially defeated Chris Weidman and didn't get a title shot. He went to Bellator. Who else has gone to Bellator? Cyborg. Demetrius Johnson didn't go to Bellator. He went to One Fighting. It was like a trade. The UFC got Ben Askren, and the One Fighting, I think that's how you say it, got Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. Yeah. So Nunes will be defending her bantamweight belt against Jermaine Durandamy. So I am definitely watching that pay-per-view. And whenever I buy a pay-per-view, I might buy a pay-per-view because I'm very excited about the main event, but I never buy a pay-per-view to watch just for the main event, if that makes sense. Whenever I buy a pay-per-view, I always do it to watch the whole main card. Because if you buy a pay-per-view just for the main event, and the main event doesn't even go a full round, like one fighter gets knocked out in like, I don't know, like in under 2 minutes, I feel like you wasted your money. It might have been like a great couple minutes, but, I still feel like you wasted your money. When I go to buy a pay-per-view, I might buy it because I'm excited about the main event, but I do it to watch the whole pay-per-view. Because again, if you just buy the pay-per-view just to watch the main event, and the main event doesn't go the full 5 rounds, I think you wasted your money. Or I shouldn't say that. If the main event doesn't even go a full round, that's what I meant to say. Not if it goes like 3 or 4 rounds and it was a good fight, yeah, I would still say it's money well spent. But if it's like, if you buy it, pay $60 to watch the pay-per-view, and the main event only doesn't even last 2 minutes, one of the fighters gets knocked out, I think you wasted your money. So I always watch the pay-per-view for the whole card, because you don't know. Maybe a fight on the main card that wasn't the main event or co-main event could win fight of the night because both fighters are just, swinging punches at each other. It gets into both fighters are trying to take each other down. I don't know. You just don't know. So that's why I always I might buy a pay-per-view because I'm more excited. I am excited about the main event, but I always do it to watch the full card. Yeah. So there you go. Now to the Cleveland Browns. I don't know what to make of this team right now. Okay. Even up until the San Francisco game, they had gotten better every game. Lose to the Titans, look better against the Jets. And then they looked better against the Rams. And if it hadn't been for some questionable play calling, we would have beaten the Rams on Sunday Night Football in Cleveland. And then we looked better against the Ravens, and it looked like we found our identity of running the ball, and having Baker Mayfield get the ball out quickly with quick, short passes. And it just all came crashing down against San Francisco. I don't know what to make of this team. I really don't. And the part that worries me is, the Browns defense got shredded against San Francisco's run game. Now, coming into Cleveland this week, is a team that I think runs the ball much better and has more running elements, because Seattle has Chris Carson and Rashard Penny, who are both running backs, and Seattle loves to run the ball, and Chris Carson is a physical running back, whereas I would say Rashard Penny is more of a quick running back who can hit the hole and, get to the second level, no problem. And then you have the element of Russell Wilson, who will run around and gain extra yards. And Russell Wilson, if he gets pressured, he'll run around and eventually throw the ball to one of his receivers. The problem is, while he's running around, the receivers are also running around. What happens? It makes your cornerbacks tired. And when your cornerbacks get tired, the receiver, Tyler Lockett or DK Metcalf in this case, or their tight end, Will Dissly, will be able to gain big yards because Russell Wilson can chuck that ball down the field. So not a good recipe for the Browns. And here's what I don't understand. The Browns are 0-2 at home. They're 2-1 on the road. And I'm pretty sure Mayfield has better numbers on the road than he does at home. But here's what bothers me more is the whole schedule. Because weeks 2 and 3, the Browns got screwed. Because week 2, they had Monday Night Football against the Jets. So that meant Tuesday was a travel day for them to come back from New York. And then they only had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I don't know if they practice on Saturdays, but so maybe Saturday to get ready for the Rams. Well, and again, if it hadn't been for some questionable play calling, we would have beaten the Rams. Because, again, we held their running game in check. They didn't really get any big passing yards or big passing plays. Yes, they racked up a lot of passing yards, like 280 something. But the Rams are a good team. And then week 4, that was weeks 3 to 4. That was a Sunday to Sunday. So that's fine. But week 5, we had Monday Night Football at San Francisco. And then week 6, we have to play on that Sunday at home against Seattle. So you would think that would be an advantage because, Seattle has to come east and play at 1 o'clock Eastern. So that'll be like a 10 a.m. start for them, which I think that this game should have been a 4:30 game. But whatever. But essentially, you're taking away a practice day for the Browns because, they have to come back, not just fly back, but they have to fly back from the West Coast and get readjusted to Eastern time and get ready for a team that loves to run the ball, a quarterback who will run around and make your cornerbacks tired and then hit his receivers for big plays. Yeah, it sounds like a great combination. And then week 10, we have to play a very physical Buffalo Bills defense. And then we have Thursday Night Football at home against the Steelers. Now, both those games are at home, so we won't have to do any traveling. But still, that's some bullshit right there. And then week 15, we're at Arizona. And then week 16, we have to come home and play Baltimore. And that game could potentially decide who wins the division if the Browns can, of course, get their shit together. But, it's just the schedule makers did us no favors. Like, coming off our bye week, we have to play at New England, and then we have to play at Denver. Now, we should win at Denver, but there's no guarantees. It's always difficult to play at Denver because of the altitude. Yeah, And we should win against Buffalo, but you don't know. And even though the Steelers might be down to their third string quarterback, we'll see how Mason Rudolph is doing, which I think Earl Thomas should have been suspended for that hit on Mason Rudolph. But, that's a different discussion. But, I think the schedule makers screwed us. And I don't know if we should have traded for Odell Beckham Jr. I really don't. I think the Browns made a couple mistakes. Number one, trading Kevin Zeitler for Olivier Vernon, which that whole thing was okay. That whole trade was one big trade divided into two parts. Oh, in case you're wondering, this is a nut and bolt. I just use this as a fidget toy. That's all. Yeah. But I don't think we should have traded for Olivier Vernon. I don't. And it's not because, I didn't like our defensive line, but you just traded one of your, arguably your best offensive lineman. And Baker Mayfield's only in his second year, and you see how much he's getting hit. Nick Bosa had every right to, mock Baker Mayfield with the whole flag waving because if you remember, after Oklahoma beat Ohio State at Ohio State, Baker Mayfield took the Oklahoma flag and planted it, bang, right in the middle of the block O at the 50-yard line at the horseshoe. So, Nick Bosa returned the favor. But then again, Nick Bosa returned the favor by absolutely living in the Browns' backfield and destroying Baker Mayfield. I don't think we should have traded Kevin Zeitler for Olivier Vernon, which again, that whole thing was part of the Odell Beckham Jr. trade. It was just divided into two parts. Now, I'm not saying Jabril Peppers, maybe we shouldn't have traded Jabril Peppers. I don't know. But I don't know if we needed OBJ. Apparently, there's a rumor going around that maybe we are looking to trade him to potentially San Francisco, New England, which, God, I hope not, and Philadelphia. But I don't know. And my other question is, did the Browns make a mistake by hiring Freddie Kitchens, who, might I add, in 1 year went from I think he was the quarterback's coach to interim offensive coordinator to head coach? I don't know. I don't think, as of right now, I don't think it was the right move. I think maybe we should have kept Greg Williams as head coach, kept Freddie Kitchens as offensive coordinator, but I'm not sure what we would have done with defensive coordinator. But I don't think Todd Monken was the right hire for offensive coordinator, because when Todd Monken was the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Jameis Winston struggled. And now that Monken is not there, Jameis Winston is actually playing well for the Buccaneers, and they're putting up points. Yes, they lost to the Saints this past Sunday, but the Sunday before that, they went into LA and put a 50 burger on the Rams. So, yeah. So this Buccaneers offense has some life to it. But I'm not seeing that from the Browns. I mean, you got Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr. You just got Antonio Callaway back. You got David Njoku, although he's injured right now. Kareem Hunt will be back in week 9. He's suspended right now. Nick Chubb, and I don't know, Odell Beckham Jr. in the past 3 games has a combined 10 receptions. I think he had, no, not even 10, like 8 or something. He had 3 or 4 receptions against the Rams, 2 against at the Ravens, and another 2 at San Francisco. 3, 4 plus 2 is 6. I'm pretty sure he has a combined 8 receptions. So the Browns were trying to do anything to get him the ball. They were having him throw passes. They were using OBJ as a running back at San Francisco. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. And I know OBJ is saying, like, I'm fine because we're a good team and we're winning. Although the Browns got absolutely smashed at San Francisco, 31-3. Yeah, now they have a short week to get ready for Seattle. Yeah, I'm not expecting high things from the Browns, but I'm still going to do a friendly wager with Nordcamp. And I'll say it in the video on Friday, but I'm going to say it now. If the Browns win, I'm not going to make him go and buy anything Cleveland Browns because I don't think he would wear it after. So maybe just go to a store, put on a Browns hat, and do the Cleveland Browns cheer, which is, here we go, Brownies, here we go, hoo. And on his Facebook, not change his profile picture, no, but just add a temporary Cleveland Browns frame for like a day. But if the Seahawks win, I would have to put on Seattle Seahawks gear and do the Seahawks cheer, which is Seahawks. And then I would have to add a Facebook frame to my profile picture for a day or two. I think that's a pretty reasonable wager. I'll run it by him on Friday. So yeah, but maybe first off, I think Freddie Kitchens should give up play calling and let Todd Monken actually do his job. Because right now it looks like Freddie Kitchens is way over his head. But what happens if the Browns continue to lose and Odell Beckham Jr. isn't getting the ball? What is he going to let his, emotion show? And if he does, what does the coaching staff do? What does the rest of the team do? Because the rest of the team is fairly young. We don't really have any veterans to like reel him in and like control him. So right now I would have to say the blame is both on Baker Mayfield and Freddie Kitchens. I mean, it feels like right now Baker Mayfield is a one-read quarterback. It's like he sees one receiver and he's like, okay, I got to get him the ball. But there might be another receiver getting open downfield, and right now it's like Baker Mayfield doesn't see him. It's like Baker Mayfield will lock in on one receiver on the play and only look for that receiver. When again, he might have another wide open receiver, running like a double move, and he's left the defender behind and he's wide open and could potentially score a touchdown. But right now, I don't think Baker Mayfield would see that receiver. And the other issue I'm seeing is that what gave Baker Mayfield success during the last 7 or 8 games last season and when he won the Heisman Trophy at Oklahoma was quick passes, not holding the ball for more than 2.5 seconds. But that's what I'm seeing him do this season. And it's clearly not generating results. I don't know. As an Eagles fan, Baker Mayfield should be doing way better. He has 2 elite receivers, an elite running back, and a decent O-line. He's set up for great success. Okay, I wouldn't say we have a decent O-line right now. I wouldn't. I mean, defensive ends seem to be getting whatever they want against our O-line. Like, it seems like defensive ends are getting in Baker Mayfield's face all the time. And I also think that's part of the reason why he's struggling is because, he sees pressure coming at him and he feels he's bailing too early instead of, like, he's trying to leave the pocket too early instead of possibly, stepping up in the pocket to avoid pressure while still looking downfield. Or maybe he has Nick Chubb for an easy check down where Nick Chubb could gain 7 or 8 yards. But instead of doing either of those, it feels like Baker Mayfield is just, bailing on the play too early and trying to make something out of nothing. And he's either getting sacked, intercepted, or the pass is falling incomplete. Which the pass falling incomplete isn't necessarily a bad thing, but, it's like the Browns, like week 4 at Baltimore, we ran the ball a lot. So I'm like, okay, we found our identity. We're a running team. But then I didn't really see that identity develop in San Francisco. So I'm still confused. What are we? Are we a passing team? Are we a running team that develops our passing game off of the running game? What are we? Until the Browns figure out who they are and until the Browns figure out their identity, they're not going to win. We're not going to win. It's that simple. Before you can become a good team that everybody's talking about, you've got to figure out who you are. Who are you, Browns? Are you a running team that will do play action passes, and do passes that set up by the run? Or are you a passing team where you use the passing game to set up the run? What are you? Which one are you? Are you a running team? Are we a running team? Or are we a passing team? And, with all the acquisitions, the Browns went from being the hunter to the hunted. And they could have kept their mouths shut and possibly kept some of the spotlight off of them. But no, they're like, hey, we're the Cleveland Browns. Look at everything we did. We want the spotlight. And, they get smashed week 1, 43-14. 43-13, I should say. And Delaney Walker, the Titans tight end, after the game, let me look up what his quote was. Delaney Walker after Browns game. Hold on. Let me see if I can find the video on my phone. Who do you think every division winner is going to be and Super Bowl winner? AFC North, I'm going to say Baltimore. AFC South, I'm going to say Houston. AFC West, Kansas City. AFC East, that's New England, easily. NFC East, Philadelphia is going to win that division. Cowboys just have too many problems right now. Let's see.
Do you feel like people are kind of sleeping on you guys a little bit, not giving you guys a fair shake coming into this?
They sleep on us every year. What's new? Crown them. They sleep on us every year.
Hang on, I'm listening to the
that's a
quote.
Question you already knew. But we like being under the radar. They were who we thought they were. If you want to crown them, crown them.
Yeah, Delaney Walker's exact words, and I quote: "They were who we thought they were. If you want to crown them, crown them." Yeah. So those were Delaney Walker's exact words after the Titans put a beat down on the Browns, 43-13. So yeah. But anyway, who I think is going to win each division? AFC North, I think Baltimore wins the AFC North. Browns aren't ready to win the division yet. I think they'll be a wild card team. Yeah. New England wins the division in the AFC East, but Buffalo is the other wild card team. AFC West, Kansas City. I think the Chargers are taking a step back this season. AFC South. Yeah, the Colts just knocked off the Chiefs in Kansas City, but I trust Houston's defense more. Houston more with Deshaun Watson. But I think Tennessee will come close to being a wild card team, but they'll just miss. And I think Jacksonville just has too many problems. They don't have their starting quarterback with Nick Foles, and Jalen Ramsey's a cloud hanging over their head right now, and I don't think Gardner Minshew can keep this going for the rest of the season. So NFC, I think Philadelphia wins the NFC South, but Dallas ends up being a wild card. NFC North, Green Bay wins that division, but Chicago ends up being the other wild card. NFC South, New Orleans wins that division. Nobody is a wild card, but Carolina will come close, but just miss. And I don't know if Cam Newton is healthy, but Kyle Allen is playing well for the Panthers. What should the Panthers do? Do they go back to Cam Newton, or do they go to Kyle Allen, or do they stay with Kyle Allen? And I think Christian McCaffrey is the leading. Sorry, tripping over my words a little bit. Leading candidate for not just NFC MVP, but I would say Christian McCaffrey is the top candidate for league MVP right now. Yeah, and Carson Wentz is a close second. If he can stay healthy, the Eagles can do some serious damage, I think, this season. Serious damage. Let's see. NFC West, I'm actually going to say San Francisco wins that division. Yes. No. Yeah, San Francisco wins that division. Chicago will not get a wild card. Seattle will get the wild card. The Rams, I think something's wrong with the Rams. I don't know what it is, but I don't like it. They're not a balanced team this season. I don't know if it's because Ty Gurley is not fully healthy. I don't know if they just don't want to run the ball as much. I don't know what it is. But something just isn't right about the Rams. So I have the Eagles, Packers, Rams, Saints, with the two wild cards being the Seahawks and the Cowboys. And then in the AFC, I have Houston, Baltimore, Kansas City, Houston, Baltimore, Kansas City, New England, and the two wild cards being Cleveland and Buffalo. And your Super Bowl will be, I think Drew Brees will come back, and the Saints will be the number one seed in the NFC, and they will play the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and it will be a high-scoring game. But I think the experience of Drew Brees leads the Saints to a Super Bowl title. So the Saints will once again win a Super Bowl championship in Miami, because their only other Super Bowl was also in Miami when they beat the Colts in Super Bowl 44, which that Super Bowl meant a lot for the city of New Orleans, because they were still trying to recover from Hurricane Katrina, and they did not. It looked like the Saints were going to leave, but the mayor of New Orleans at the time, I forget his name, was pretty much saying this: there is no way the Saints are leaving New Orleans. There is no way. And while the Superdome was being repaired, the Saints had to play their home games in San Antonio, and they had to play the Giants or at the Giants Stadium and other places. They're pretty much that season. I don't remember the year. It might have been 2006 or something. I'm pretty sure. The Saints had to play all their games pretty much on the road, even their home games. And it looked like the Saints were going to pack up and leave New Orleans and go to San Antonio. But again, the mayor of New Orleans said, no, we will do whatever it takes to get the Superdome repaired so that the Saints will stay in New Orleans, because the mayor knew that football is what the people of New Orleans needed to recover. in the process of recovery because people love the Saints in New Orleans. That's why I want to go to a Saints game so badly, especially on a Sunday night game or a Monday night game, and especially if it's against like a high-profile opponent. Yeah. So yeah. And I already know the Browns' opponents for the next couple seasons, actually. So I will tell you those opponents now, in case you're curious. So, 2020. Our 2020 regular season opponents. At home, the Browns will play the Houston Texans, the Indianapolis Colts, which I want revenge on the Colts for when they beat us in 2014 and pretty much prevented us from going to the playoffs. And I also want revenge on the Colts for 2007 when I'm pretty sure we beat the San Francisco 49ers and we just needed the Colts to defeat the Tennessee Titans later that night on Sunday Night Football in Indianapolis. There was actually a section of our stadium, a group of fans rooting for the Colts, and the Colts lost, meaning the Titans went to the playoffs to play the Chargers, and the Browns were left sitting at home. So I want revenge on the Colts for both of those games. Also, home against the Philadelphia Eagles, home against Washington, which for the Washington game, yes, I will make some sort of sign for that game that says, "Hey, Washington, change your name and logo." Yes, I feel that strongly about it. And then we will have a home game against whoever finishes in the same place in the standings as we do from the AFC West. So we might play Kansas City and we might play the Chargers. I don't think we'll end up playing the Broncos or Raiders. And of course, we'll have home games against the Ravens, Bengals, and Steelers. Now for our away opponents in 2020. At the Tennessee Titans, at the New York Giants, so we'll get to play Daniel Jones, at the Jacksonville Jaguars, at the Dallas Cowboys, which I heard a rumor that our game against the Cowboys next season in Dallas could be on Thanksgiving. So we'll see. And we'll be at whoever finishes in the same place as us in the standings from the AFC East. So most likely New England or Buffalo. I wouldn't expect to play the Jets and definitely not the Dolphins. If we lose to the Dolphins in week 12, Freddie Kitchens needs to get his ass fired because the Dolphins are clearly tanking. And if you lose to the Dolphins in week 12 in Cleveland, we might as well fire our whole coaching staff. And then, of course, at the Ravens, at the Bengals, and at the Steelers. Now for our 2021 opponents. Home opponents in 2021. The Denver Broncos, Oakland Raiders, Chicago Bears, Detroit Lions, whoever finishes in the same place in the standings as us from the AFC South, and of course the Ravens, Bengals, and Steelers. Now for our away opponents for 2021. The Green Bay Packers, Kansas City Chiefs, Los Angeles Chargers, Minnesota Vikings, whoever finishes in the same place in the standings as from the AFC East, and then of course again Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh. And then in 2022, we will be home against the New England Patriots, home against the Jets, home for the Saints, home for the Buccaneers, home for whoever finishes in the same place as us from the AFC West, and then of course home for the Ravens, Bengals, and Steelers. And then we'll be at the Falcons, at the Bills, at the Panthers, at the Dolphins, and then we'll be at whoever finishes in the same place in the standings as us from the AFC South, and then at the Ravens, at the Bengals, and at the Steelers. Yeah. So, yeah, those are our future opponents. Of course, the NFL schedule doesn't get made until after the Super Bowl. That way, the Super Bowl champion can have their first game at home. Yeah. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, even though the last time I did a happy anti-day, it didn't work. I'm still going to do it again on Saturday. So just a heads up. No, you are not allowed to wear purple. You are not allowed to wear yellow. And you are not allowed to wear anything that has to do with Tigers. Nothing. Because Saturday is anti-LSU Tigers Day. So you are required. I will definitely be wearing something blue and hope I don't have anything that actually, I don't have any actual Florida Gators gear, but I'll be wearing something blue or something orange. And I'll definitely be going all out for the Gators. It's gonna be a tough task going to LSU, playing another tough physical defense because LSU definitely has that. After playing another home game against a tough physical opponent in the Auburn Tigers. Again, I don't get why LSU and Auburn and Clemson and Memphis all have the same name of Tigers, and I don't get why Kentucky, Northwestern, and Villanova, I'm sure there's other teams I'm missing, all have the same name of Wildcats. And why does Clemson, Nebraska, and Illinois, all three of their stadiums are called Memorial Stadium? I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. But whatever. Yeah. So the NBA season's kicking off in a little over 12 days. And I think the Cavaliers will be a playoff team this season. I really do. I think we will be a playoff team. I don't think we're going to win our division, but I think we'll be a low playoff seed. We'll be in the 6 to 8 range. And I don't think we'll win a series, but I think we could, as long as we stay healthy, we could push one of the higher seeded teams to 6 or 7 games, I think. I like what we did, how we finished last season when Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson came back with Sexton and Chetty Osman and Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson. I like Jordan Clarkson. I think Brandon Knight's a nice piece. I like the guys we drafted, although I'm not sure why we drafted Darius Garland, because Garland's a shooting guard. Or no, he's a point guard, and we already have a point guard in Colin Sexton. And I saw our projected starting lineup as of right now, and the guy you drafted, number 5 overall, I'm pretty sure, is not in your starting lineup. Our starting lineup, I believe, is Sexton at point guard, Brandon Knight at shooting guard, Chetty Osman at small forward, Kevin Love at power forward, which there's a lot of speculation we might trade him. I don't think we're going to. And center will be Tristan Thompson. Hopefully we keep Marquise Chris, because I like him coming off the bench to play power forward or play center. And like I said, I like Clarkson. I like Garland. I think if we can stay healthy and not have any major injuries, I think we're going to be a playoff team. Yeah. And I'll definitely be going to Cavs games again this season. And I'll definitely be shooting in-game footage. Oh, that reminds me. My apologies that I haven't taken a lot of in-game footage from the first 2 home games for week 1 against the Titans and week 3 against the Rams. I really should have taken more against the Rams, especially since it was Sunday Night Football. But this week against the Seahawks, yeah, I'm going to be taking a lot of in-game footage and doing, vlogs. Not live stream edition. Not live stream because I just can't do that right now. You have to be at 1,000 subscribers to have the ability to do mobile live streaming, but I'm only at 217, 218, something like that. And thank you to all the subscribers who have stayed with me for all these years. I really appreciate it, and can't thank you enough. And again, welcome to all the new subscribers. If you are a recent subscriber, please go check out the other videos on my channel and, give some comments. If you disagree with me on something, feel free to write in the comments. I will read your comment, and who knows, I might reply back to you. But yeah, this week against the Seahawks is a special one for me because, again, first off, I'm doing a video to preview the game with the guy who really inspired me to even be a YouTuber in NordCam. Again, he's a diehard Seahawks fan, and I know he'll be live streaming from Seattle, I think at a restaurant called Emerald Downs at 9 a.m. because since it's a 1 o'clock Eastern time kickoff here in Cleveland, it is a 10 a.m. kickoff time in Seattle. Now, the last time the Seahawks played in the Eastern time, they beat the Steelers, but I think that was because Ben Roethlisberger got hurt during that game. And the Seahawks only won that game by 2. Yeah, but again, the Seahawks have played on Thursday Night Football, so they have all week to get ready for us. Whereas the Browns played on Monday Night Football at San Francisco, so they had to fly back to Cleveland on that Tuesday, meaning they only have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and maybe Saturday to prepare for the Seahawks. I hate that. It's so stupid. And again, week 10, we have to play a tough, physical, probably defensive battle against the Buffalo Bills. And then week 11, we have Thursday Night Football against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, that's what I call bullshit. And then week 15, we are at Arizona, which right now the Cardinals look like shit. So that should be a fairly easy game. And then week 16, we have to play the Ravens. Yeah, I don't like that either. But again, like I said, I realize I didn't make a lot of in-game footage for week 1 against the Titans and week 3 against the Rams, which my apologies for that. But I am definitely going to be posting a lot more in-game footage for this week because it is the Seahawks, and I'm doing a video with NordCam. He actually paints his face during these videos, so I'm going to be doing something similar, not painting my face, but wearing like a face mask that is all Cleveland Browns. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's NordCam versus Unger to the max. Yeah. Again, I'm not going to be doing live streaming from the game like he does. Because I just don't have that capability right now, but it's whatever. Maybe one day I'll get to 1,000 subscribers. You never know. Yeah. I definitely have talked about a lot in my return, which again, I don't know why I took 2 weeks off. Probably schoolwork or something. I don't know why I didn't make a reaction video to us beating the Ravens. Then again, I didn't make a reaction video for week 2 against the Jets. And I don't think I made a reaction video for when we lost to the Titans. Whatever. It is what it is. Yeah, I'm back. Hopefully I'm going to start making videos again regularly. Again, look for a lot of game footage from Sunday when we play the Seahawks, which I heard a rumor that if the Browns had somehow beaten the 49ers in San Francisco, the game against the Seahawks might have been flexed into Sunday Night Football because NFL games can start being flexed in week 6. And what it means to flex a game is if the NFL sees a better matchup than the Sunday night game, they can flex that game into Sunday Night Football, and the Sunday Night Football gets moved to a 1 o'clock time slot, which I think the NFL made a mistake by keeping Steelers-Chargers as the Sunday Night Football game when both teams are struggling. I think they should have flexed 49ers-Rams into that slot. 49ers are 4-0. They're flying high, coming off a big win against us on Monday Night Football, which I got to give all the credit to the 49ers. Their defensive line ate us for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They were able to run all over us. I mean, Matt Breida, for crying out loud, got an 83-yard touchdown run on the first play of the game for San Francisco. Yeah, that's great defense. Not. Yeah. So, and the Rams are coming off losing a heartbreaking game against the Seahawks on Thursday Night Football. If Greg Zuerlein had made that field goal, but it's a big game, and I won't be able to watch it because, number one, I'll be at the Browns game, and number two, for some reason, they're not showing that game here in Cleveland. The only game they're showing on Fox is Seahawks-Browns, and on CBS they're showing the 4 o'clock game is Cowboys-Jets, which I don't give a shit about that game because the Cowboys are absolutely going to smash the Jets. But let's see. What are the two games on? Yeah, they're showing Bengals, Ravens, and then Cowboys, Jets. Neither one of those games is that exciting. And then the games they're showing next week, because the Browns have a bye week, are Raiders at Packers, Rams at Falcons, and then Ravens at Seahawks. The only game of those that I'm interested in is Ravens Seahawks. That's the only game I'm interested in. And then the Monday night game is Patriots at the Jets. Sorry, Gangrene David, but the Jets are nothing. Yeah. So the Jets are trash. Yeah. I'm not that interested in Rams Falcons. Yeah. The Thursday night game tonight should be interesting. Giants Patriots. This used to be a rivalry, but it's not anymore. But, Giants fans can always hold it over the Patriots that we beat you twice in the Super Bowl. The NFC East is, I'm pretty sure, 3-1 against the Patriots in the Super Bowl. So maybe if we want the Patriots to lose in the Super Bowl, all we have to do is get an NFC East team to play them. I mean, I don't want the Cowboys to play the Patriots in the Super Bowl, but if it means because the Cowboys are supposedly America's team, although I would argue the Packers or Steelers are America's team, but whatever. The Cowboys are America's team, and the Patriots are America's most hated team. So I don't know who America would favor in that game. Probably the Cowboys. Actually, the Cowboys and Patriots play each other in Week 9 in New England. Yeah. And the Dodgers just choked. So as a Cubs fan, I don't know who to root for in this NLCS. Should I root for the Nationals or should I root for the Cardinals? Or should I just stay neutral and just enjoy baseball? And big game tonight. Winner moves on to the ALCS against the Yankees. If the Rays win, then the series will start at the Bronx because the Rays are the wild card team and the Yankees won the division and they had the better record. But if the Astros win, which the game is in Houston, then the ALCS will start in Houston, which I think would favor the Astros. So right now the World Series could be Astros Nationals or Astros Cardinals, or it could be Rays Nationals or Rays Cardinals, or it could be Yankees Cardinals or Yankees Nationals. The Dodgers just straight up screwed up last night. They should have taken Clayton Kershaw out of the game after they took after he got the strikeout on Adam Eaton. I don't know why they didn't use Joe Kelly or Kenta Maeda, or maybe even Kenley Jansen. I don't know. That was a big screw up on their part, and Dave Roberts took the blame. Gabe Kapler got relieved of his duties by the Philadelphia Phillies today, and Mickey Callaway is no longer the Mets manager. So yeah, and even though the Columbus Blue Jackets are off to a little bit of a rough start, I think that this win against Buffalo could give us some momentum, and hopefully Korpisalo or Alves can emerge as like that goaltender we can count on, because right now I'm not really seeing it from either guy. And if we can, I still say the Columbus Blue Jackets can make the playoffs. So that's going to do it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, punch that subscribe button like a UFC fighter and punch that like button. See what I did there? I reversed it. Go Browns, beat the Seahawks somehow on Sunday. And again, before I go, it's great to be a Florida Gator. Said it's great to be a Florida Gator. Go Gators. Go down to Baton Rouge and beat the LSU Tigers and prove you're a legit team. Although I'm worried to see how you do against Georgia, because last season it looked like Florida was a legit team, and then they fell flat on their face against Georgia. Although they would go out and smash Michigan in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, I think it was. Oh, and go Penn State beat Iowa. And Ohio State's not going to get their first test of the season until they play Wisconsin. And of course, that game's in Ohio State. What are you going to do? Both of Ohio State's two biggest tests of the season are both in Columbus. They get to host Wisconsin and they get to host Penn State. What are you going to do? I hate Ohio State, but they're the best team in the country right now. They are. Clemson shouldn't even be Clemson shouldn't be in the top 4 right now. Just saying. So that's actually going to do it for this video. Go Gators, beat the Tigers on Saturday. Go Browns, somehow beat the Seahawks on Sunday. And if not, keep it close. Don't get blown out. That's all I ask. But you can't start the season 0-3 at home. You just can't. That's not acceptable. You should win your home games. And you should win some of your away games, but more likely you're going to lose more of your away games. But whatever. So until next time, this is Unger to the Max signing off, and I'll do it once again. A salute to you.